Okay, folks, here we are. It's Wednesday morning, almost noon, and I finally got my stainless steel rods, and here it is with the hull gudgeon connected to the auxiliary rudder with the stainless steel rod, 20 mil diameter. Here's my little thrust washer made out of a piece of cutting board. And you can see it's a snug fit without being tight. So the auxiliary rudder can turn quite easily back and forth. Yet everything is snug enough that there's no rattling, which was a bit of a problem with the other auxiliary rudder. Especially when anchored or moored with the boat bouncing around a little bit, it would clonk back and forth. And that noise, of course, would reverberate, especially through the aft cabin at night. Really annoying. I often had to tie it off or bungee cord it off to keep it from flopping around. So, unfortunately, I had planned to mount this today. The fasteners came, but evidently I ordered the wrong length on the bolts, so I had to reorder those. They come pretty fast. There's a supplier close by, delivers for a nominal charge. And of course, it's been raining off and on all morning, because what I wanted to do is put another hot coat of epoxy on down in the bottom and put a primer coat of paint up here on the upper end of the auxiliary rudder. Anyway, until the next time, bye for now. Okay, folks, here we are. It's Thursday morning. I don't know, about the 5th of October, I think, something like that. Anyway, I'm preparing to start the trim tab. I finally got went and picked this up yesterday and had these little tabs, one here and one here, welded on. Now I'm going to do this pretty much the same as I did the trailing edge of the rudder. So I'll leave about an inch or a little bit more extra rods sticking out at the bottom. That's to fit in the gudgeon that goes on the bottom of the auxiliary rudder. So that holds the shaft at the bottom end. And we'll fill it all the way out. This washer is sitting here to hold the space, so the filler gets in underneath the tab. Up to approximately here. That's 3 feet plus an inch or two. And I just got it clamped on there so it doesn't move, doesn't roll around. This is the offcut piece that was the extra from the auxiliary rudder. Turned out to be just perfect for this particular application. Same thing, just some clear packing tape on there so it doesn't stick. So now it's just a matter of filling that, smoothing it off, getting it all sanded down nice and smooth, and then wrapping some fabric around it. You might be a little surprised at what I choose to use, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Bye for now. Okay, folks, here it is, Monday afternoon, the 9th of October. And of course, this is the auxiliary rudder. Pretty near everything is done. I've got the trim tab on there with the upper bracket, and back here is the lower bracket that holds the trim tab. Turns back and forth either with the autopilot or with the wind vane. Now, up on this end of the trim tab shaft is one of these little tiny hose clamps. When this is finalized on the installation, this will slide right up underneath. Here. And that keeps the tab shaft from lifting up and disengaging the pin at the bottom. That wouldn't be real good. Anyway, one other little addition. Sure do wish I'd have done this before. On the other auxiliary rudder, put a nice hole in here, so I could put a big piece of 1/2-inch line through here and tie it to the boat. That will be my leash for the auxiliary rudder. Should anything go awry, I won't lose another auxiliary rudder. If anything breaks, that line, 1/2-inch line tied to the boat, should hold it just fine. Now, one thing I want to do too is I'm going to take a piece of something, flat strap, maybe some aluminum, stainless steel sheet, if I got a piece of, about that wide, and I'll make a flat strap go up over the tab shaft and down to the other side. And that's to keep the tab shaft from wiggling side to side as it turns in the water. Because the force of the water, of course, with the boat going a couple of knots even, is quite a bit. If the boat's going 5 or 6 knots, it'll push that tab around quite a bit, and I don't want that tab shaft to be woggling back and forth. I mean, it won't take a permanent bend or anything, but it does put unnecessary stress on the upper and lower brackets that hold it in place. I think I'm going to put a leash on the tab shaft as well. It'll be a smaller piece of line, and of course where the big old pin that goes through to tie the auxiliary rudder to the boat, the bracket's mounted on the transom right now. I haven't got a picture of that yet, but I think you can imagine what that looks like. I'm going to put a leash on that stainless steel rod as well, just in case while I'm trying to fiddle around and get the auxiliary rudder, either take it off or put it on the boat when the boat's in the water. If I inadvertently let that rod go, it's not going to instantly head for the bottom. That would be bad also, because I don't have anything that I can use as a replacement aboard the boat. So it's coming along. Tomorrow around noon, or a little bit after when the high tide is, there's another boat that's got a much deeper draft and sunshine. It's going to be hauled up first, and then we go up until Friday. The only thing I'm doing is having the bottom cleaned and painted, and which of course the auxiliary rudder and the trim tab will get painted, new bottom paint. And I have some brackets that I want to have welded onto the dinghy davits, so to reinforce it. And I got a couple of tabs that I'm having welded as well. I'm going to put like this, a cross brace wire each way, because believe it or not, those solar panels up there, that's two 200-watt solar panels, they're pretty doggone heavy. And in any kind of a seaway, that the inertia of that weight up there about 6 feet off deck really starts tweaking that whole structure around. So I want to put those cross cables on there to stop that motion, because one of the uprights where it's welded to a tab that bolts through the cap rail has broken the weld. That's one of the things that I have to have fixed when the boat is hauled out of the water. So I got the gusset plates already made. They just got to be welded on. There's 12 of them because I got 6 posts back there. And 2 little tabs for the wires, because the wire at the upper end, I'll just wrap around the upper tube there about where that vertical pipe is. Just after that, I'll wrap the wire around and put some, I don't have any Nika press sleeves, but I do have bulldog clamps. I've got some lifeline wire that'll be suitable for that. I don't know, it's about 1/8" diameter wire, should be plenty strong enough. And it still has the turnbuckles attached to one end. So that'll be that little project. Hopefully that takes care of that. I've got my new mainsail is ordered. They should have started building it today. It's supposed to be finished on Friday of this coming week. And then it will be shipped here, which takes about a week. So that makes me happy because I didn't really look forward to trying to get down south without a good mainsail. So now I have a nice new one. Of course, I'll also be poorer by a fair amount of money. So that's it for now. I have to make the tiller arms. One tiller arm goes fore and aft above that bracket there. That's where the linkage from the autopilot attaches to turn the trim tab shaft when I'm using the autopilot to steer the boat. And then there'll be one that goes perpendicular across the center line of the boat, essentially. And that's where the lines from the wind vane attach. So it pulls either one side or the other to turn the tab shaft, which of course turns the auxiliary rudder. When I get that all put together, I'll show it to you, although in my older videos you can see how all that linkage is hooked up to the old trim tab shaft. This will be similar, except that the rudder is going to be mounted inclined because it follows the slope of the transom rather than being vertical. So I might have to do a little jiggly wiggling around to get that linkage to work without binding and such. So that's it for now until, of course, the upper part of the trim tab, or the auxiliary rudder, needs a couple coats of paint. It's only got one coat on there now, and it's been beat up quite a bit with all the work I've been doing on the rudder. So that'll be all nice and shiny new white paint. Anyway, yeah, that's it for now. Bye.